Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head, by the way. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never alone. And today, Michal is back, and we are going to be continuing with some really cool stuff. So let's dive in, man. Why wait? So Michal, by the way, welcome. Thank you for hanging out today. This is awesome.
It's fun.
Always good. And by the way, so last show we were talking about 7. Tell me, remind us. 7.
Yes, we're right in the middle of kind of a mini series, the 7 declarations of being a fully healthy person. So we talked a lot about leading up to this, how the body only develops chronic ongoing issues when the nervous system is dysregulated and it's stuck in a state of survival mode, fight or flight, and our body is not in resting, digesting, growth, and repair. The cellular regeneration and repair features are like a paused because our body is just surviving. And so now what we're looking at is, okay, but so how do we actually live life in a way that we stay regulated? So that by default, it's not like, oh, I'm just deep breathing and so I'm regulated for 2 hours. It's like, how do I stay regulated all the time? Because life's not going to stop. Life's not going to slow down. Right. Life is full of stressors and triggers and things. How do I stay regulated in the midst of real life? And so that's the series we're in right now. And last, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the first 3. So I'm going to refresh us on those. Yes. And then we're going to go right into the next ones. So 1, I commit to being open and willing to face all shadow aspects of myself in the process of being healthy. 2, I commit to doing what I know is most supportive for me and those around me. 3, I commit to trusting my body's intelligence and to allow it to teach me about how I'm perceiving life and how I can learn and grow. We have lots of good information deeply into those. So we're going to dive into some more this week, and we'll see how many we get through.
Yeah. So declarations, that word struck me earlier today when I was getting ready for this show, and I was thinking declarations. So declaration is something that you are saying ahead of time before it's actually happening, right? It's like I'm in this state now, but I'm declaring this, right? Okay.
I like that. That's such a good, I didn't anticipate you picking out that word. But yeah, I really do look at them like commitments, but it's also like there's an aspect of I'm creating this. I'm declaring, I'm committing to, I'm creating this for myself in my life. And it really is, it's almost like there's choices there. I am choosing this for my life. And it really is a choice.
And it's not so much, the whole name it and claim it thing. It's not that kind of thing. There's work. It's work. Like, you have to work. It's
Yes.
not like, oh, I'm declaring it and I just sit back and wait for it to arrive. No,
Very true.
so declaration doesn't mean you're being handed something. It means that you are deciding that this is how it's going to be, and you are willing to work to make it work, to
Yes.
make it be that way. Okay.
Yes, and you are an active participant
Yes.
in that. And I really think there's, a lot of these concepts, not very many of them are new. We all kind of hear them in different circles. Like you said, name it and claim it. We all know that. Well, but there's people that can talk the talk, but not walk the walk. So it's like embodying it, experiencing it, getting it, learning it on an experiential level is very different. So, and all the time I'm talking about, like learning to ride a bike. You can see someone do it. It can make sense to you. You can declare that you're going to ride the bike or whatever, right? Or that you know how. That doesn't mean you know how. And it's not, information isn't going to make the difference. It's you have to get on the bike. And it helps if you have a really good teacher, so that depending on how you learn, they can cater to your learning style, or they can see what you're doing and say, try this instead. This is very much how I teach, how my practitioners teach. We're teaching at an experiential level. And so it's not like cookie cutter, and it's not something that you just hope happens. And oftentimes clients will even say, well, I'm doing it. And we say, no, you're not. Like, you are understanding this conceptually, but you're not actually getting it from a loving place. How can you see that? Where are the gaps? Like, what's really going on? So I love that you pointed that out. It's not lip service. You have to actually learn to experience this to the core of your being.
That's right. And if anybody has questions, or if your mind completely gets blown during this episode and you're like, whoa, we got to talk about this, QR code's in the corner, scan it, get together with Michal, have a consult with her, and see if you're ready, honestly. Because you got to be ready for this. This is not just a walk in and hit the ground running kind of thing.
Yes, very true. Very true.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so principle number 4, or declaration number 4, is this: I commit to live a principled life of personal integrity, personal responsibility, and excellence of character in all my life's experiences. So I feel like most people have the intention to live a principled, value-based, value-driven, right, purpose-driven life. And we all, I think most of us, want to have personal integrity. We would say that we live in personal integrity, take personal responsibility. We do our best. We show up and do with excellence, right? We do things with excellence in every area of life. At least that's where I thought I was before I learned I wasn't.
Well, and some people, some people, I don't know why this popped into my head, but some people might maybe, they're in such a despair state that maybe they've been on disability for the last 10 years and they don't know what else, that there is something better. There is something beyond their condition. And so that's part of being ready for it. Right. But this is all all these things. There's a lot to unpack there.
There is a lot to unpack, and we will. And I also love that you said, yes, some people that could be overwhelming. Some people are like, I'm already there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we know if you have ongoing symptoms, if your body is dysregulated, that actually there are holes or leaks or cracks in your foundation in these areas. That's a tough pill to swallow, but bear with me. We can also start small. So think of it this way. It's not those big things we need to change that are overwhelming. And usually most of us have the big areas of our life intact. It's like, no, I pay the mortgage, whatever, all the big areas are intact. It's the small things that we think don't matter that are where it adds up so quickly. So I like to say this: you can try to lie to yourself, but you can't lie to your nervous system. It's tracking everything. It's monitoring everything all at once. So when I take little shortcuts, or I let myself off the hook, or I say, oh, it's fine this time. I make little exceptions to the rules when no one's looking. Or maybe for everyone else, I would never make that exception, but it's just me. So, for somebody else, I might serve them a nice meal on a regular plate that's warmed up. But for me, I might grab something out of the fridge, eat it cold right out of the Tupperware. These are the tiny things that we're talking about. That's not excellence of character. That's not treating myself the way I would treat someone else with value. And so our nervous system is actually tracking everything. And it's when we are out of integrity, not doing something the way we know it's meant to be done, or when it's meant to be done, putting it off and cramming it in last minute, or even doing it the way that we would prefer, the way that makes us feel good about ourselves, that makes us feel proud. It's like if someone were watching me, how would I show up? What is my true best, right? When I look at it that way, would I treat someone else this way? Or if they were watching me, would I do it this way? It's that principle that allows me to kind of get a more honest picture of how I'm really operating in life behind the scenes or to myself. And so it's the small things that I began working on, like not eating out of the Tupperware container, or washing my water bottle out. So I'm drinking out of a clean water bottle or a clean water jar. Or the snooze button, I think, tricks a lot of people. And it's like I set it for a time. I know I need to be waking up, but the time comes, I don't want to be in my life today. And it's just 5 minutes or 9 minutes, right? It's whatever it is. It's fine. But then I make myself rush through the morning. So these are examples of areas where I can see cracks in my foundation of living in principle. Am I living based on my principles, or am I living based on my emotions or my feelings or something else, fear? Am I in integrity with myself? And I hear a lot of people say, well, nobody noticed. Okay, but
that's not true.
It's not true, because you're not nobody. No. Or are you telling yourself unconsciously that you are a nobody, and you're seeing or witnessing yourself do these things doesn't matter? These are the unconscious messages we build up in our system. This is what inner turmoil and stress actually is what, like, those messages I'm sending myself. Do I feel good about myself, or do I feel worse about myself? And so starting in these small areas, like I've mentioned, maybe even taking 5 a week in one area of life, like driving the car. It's like, do I really stop at the stop sign? Do I drive my car the way I do when I was taking my driver's test? Or not?
I'm going to just go ahead and say no for most of us. Come on.
Right. That's a beautiful area to actually build muscles in this, because however I'm showing up in one area is how I'm showing up in every area of life. How I do one thing is how I do everything. Yes. So if I can start making these small changes within myself in one simple area, like just stopping at stop signs, believe it or not, unconsciously, that changes so many things in our system that I begin to show up differently in other areas of my life too. And I start recognizing, oh, well, I feel so good about myself here. I want to feel good about myself there too. I do want to floss my teeth. It takes less than 30 seconds, Oh, and then I did that. So yeah, I do want to wipe down the counter. Oh, and that feels so good. So now I do want to put my shoes away. And that feels so good. I do want to blah, blah, blah. So this is kind of where these principles start coming to life in ways we can practice them.
It's like the guy that brings to mind I can't remember if he was an admiral or some high-ranking Navy guy that got a lot of press because he gave a speech, and it became a book, of course, later, about always making your bed or something. Like the first thing you do in the morning, and then you've accomplished something already. You can check that off your list already, and you just got out of bed, and same kind of, like, I love to cook. Cooking is one of my favorite things to do. It's therapeutic to me. It's calming to me if I do it right. But if I'm rushed, like you're saying, if you're doing it wrong, you're going to feel terrible about it, and the food's not even going to taste as good.
Yeah.
So, And
it's how can I build myself up every day. And it's not in the big areas, those are few and far between.
Right.
It's in the small areas. We make hundreds of choices a day. And if I'm building
Yes.
myself up like I would my best friend, if I talk to myself and I treat myself like I would my child or my best friend, that is truly changing everything. So we think about, if would I say this to my daughter, or would I say this to a best friend, or would I say it to you, Jeff? If the answer is no, I would never treat you that way. I would never say that to you. Oh my God, that's horrible. Then that's probably something we need to reflect on. And truly, if you wouldn't say it to somebody else, if you wouldn't do it to somebody else, don't do it to yourself, because this is literally building either inner peace and the nervous system's regulated and feeling calm, just like it is with people. We co-regulate with people, right? Versus if somebody's being a jerk to you, or they're always negative, or they're always judging, or they're always criticizing, or it's never good enough. We know people like this, right?
Yeah.
How do we feel in our nervous system around those people? Awful. Well, our nervous system is the same way. It's really not a mystery when we look at how we're treating ourselves every day, if we're surviving or not. The tricky part is most of this is completely unconscious, completely hidden from our views. And so we don't really realize what we're doing habitually. It's a habit. We're not aware of it.
It's unconscious, so you don't think about it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yep.
And it's not good or bad, right or wrong either. A lot of people, when I start talking about this, morality comes up, shoulds come up. I'm not saying do what you think you should. That's also usually not supportive for you. It just means when you slow down and you feel in your body, you pause and you ask, what is me doing my best? Is it me making a nice meal, sitting down and eating it, and I feel that out? Or, and I'm closing my eyes, so I'm going in and I'm feeling. Or is it me eating real quick out of the container, the Tupperware container? And I can feel in my body right now asking that kind of oh, that feels good. And oh, that doesn't feel good. It's learning to pause and check in. What's going to make me feel proud of myself and feel good about myself? And as soon as I start taking those actions, I do. It's almost like I stand taller and I'm like, yeah, I feel like myself. I feel good today.
Well, and it kind of struck me when you said, would you, I can't remember exactly how you worded it, but would you do this to somebody you care about? Would this be how you would act towards, like for me, it would be Catherine, my wife. Would I talk to her like that, the way I just talked to myself? No, never in a million years, because I love her and I care about her, and I would never want to hurt her. Like if I talk to her the way I talked to myself just now, oh, not good. So yeah. That's something that not a lot of people think of because it's so unconscious.
Yes.
Right.
And we need to be building it. I almost picture, it's not the truth, but I almost picture my body as like a separate human from me. It helps me. How am I treating my body? I also kind of look at myself as separate, right? Like, would I treat someone else this way? So I'm thinking, how do I treat myself? Sometimes I even weave in words. It's not the truth, but how am I treating my future self? Am I leaving them a mess, or am I cleaning up the dishes? And it's interesting because some of the times I've set something by my bedstand so I had it there when I needed it later.
Sure.
And it's so nice when it's there. And it's funny because I actually thank myself. I'm like, thank you. I do feel cared for. Thank you. So whatever mind tricks or permission slips you need to kind of develop this relationship with yourself that's loving, where you learn to care about yourself as a real human being, because most of us don't do that. Whatever tricks or tips help you with that, do it. If it's talking to your inner child, fine, do it. If it's thinking of, if I was my own child or I was my own spouse, what would I say to them? And you start saying these things to yourself. That's a beautiful way to begin building this awareness in these ways.
Nice. Love it. All right. You know what? I hope you guys are taking notes again, because that was good. That was good. So if you aren't, and I know I just took the QR code down, but that's because we're going to go to a commercial real quick, but you can always rewind the show and watch it again so you can catch everything. Because this is not always the easiest stuff to absorb if it's not something been accustomed to hearing. But yeah, we're gonna tackle the next item on the list here at the when we come back. So stick around, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
In a world where office workers typically receive 130 daily emails and have an 8-second attention span, CoreCentrica, with her 4 decades of international marketing experience, has partnered with the Learning Code Institute and their 30 years of neuroscientific research. Together, we are crafting unique messaging strategies that resonate, connect, and ultimately convert our target audiences. CoreCentrica, where award-winning creativity and disruptive neuroscience come together. Scan this code now, or call and click, and let us show you how CoreCentrica's partnership with the Learning Code Institute is influencing how businesses connect with their audience, foster engagement, and achieve conversions.
Hey everyone, Coach Greg here from Living Empowered TV, where we help women live empowered lives through amazing guests, life hacks, mental, physical, and emotional health. See us on the Achieve Network, 12 o'clock Wednesdays Pacific time on E360 TV. Don't miss out.
Hey everybody, before we bring Michal back to talk about some more of these amazing principles that we're tackling today, I'm going to talk about Invisible Condition University, because this is an important thing. And honestly, Invisible Condition University is something that I wish had been around about 10 or 11 years ago. In the last 10 or 11 years, I have gone through 4 brain surgeries and 2 other surgeries related to those. And it's not easy. It's not easy when you have the support that you need, and it's even less easy when you don't. And so when you leave the hospital, that support goes away unless you have a support system at home, right? So that's why my wife Catherine and I created ICU. That was the whole purpose behind this. We wanted to provide a place for other people like us, maybe like you, to find community. Find a community that listens, that cares, that actually walks with you through the difficult times that you're experiencing in the midst of whatever condition you're dealing with. We meet on Zoom twice a month for about an hour. If it goes a little longer, that's okay too. But we like to start with an hour, and come bring your caregiver, bring your mom, your brother, whoever's helping you through with this journey. Bring them along to the call and ask questions, vent frustrations, find information, maybe from others on the call, even that you're not getting from the hospital or your doctors. If you'd like to learn more, just scan the QR code or go to myfreegiftfromjeff.com. You'll get a free 30 days to check it out, and we'd love to see you there. So, all right, whoops. Okay. Gotta take that down first. Okay, there we go. All right, here we go. Now we're back. And okay, I think we covered 1.
Yes. Let's
So we
go
got
to the next one. The 5th one
What's the next one?
is I commit to living in the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes.
Now, I plan on doing a whole deep dive into what does this mean and how do we teach people to do this a little bit
There's
later
a lot
on.
there.
Yes. But I want to touch on this briefly here. So really, it is a way of life. It's a lifestyle. There's not a quick fix. any quick fix Band-Aid approaches that I've ever used, I've used hundreds of them actually. I've been around the block a while in
Haven't we
this
all?
arena.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Ugh.
they were short-lived. They gave short-lived results. So any tool or Band-Aid that I use to give me a quick fix of, oh, I feel better. Oh, the symptom is managed. Oh, my nervous system is regulated because I did
Yeah.
somatic breathing or, whatever. That's not really changing the default place I live from. And
Right.
so when we talk about committing to really live in the parasympathetic, it's doing the things, it's living from a foundation of health, and approaching things in a certain way that are coming from healthy patterns and habits I've developed. Instead of being in my default mode, autopilot mode, sped up, powering through, survival mode, just kind of going through life, not really tuned in or checked into myself. And so it's also being slowed down enough and connected and self-aware enough to recognize when I feel regulated and when I don't, so that I can pause and I can say, hold on, something's going on for me. I'm feeling triggered, stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, like there's something going on. Let me slow down and actually look at it. Let me do my inner work so that I can get back to a regulated place and now approach my life from that place rather than ignoring it, suppressing it, happy pilling through it. Oh, it's fine. Everything's just optimistic. I just won't feel any negative feelings. Oh, I'll just do an emotional release. Oh, I'll just do my positive affirmations. Oh, I'll just listen to music and pump myself up. No, this doesn't work. You have to actually go into
Yeah.
whatever's going on inside that's going on.
Well, because everybody knows that doesn't work. I mean, come on. Let's seriously, everybody. We all know that doesn't work. You can pump yourself up and do all the things. And even when you're doing the whatever, jumping around and doing all the things, in your heart, you're not doing it. It's just not happening.
Yep.
So,
Doesn't matter how much caffeine I drink. Yes.
So, yeah.
Totally. I can drink the caffeine. I can go to the chiropractor. I can take all my supplements. I can eat a perfect diet. But if you're not in a regulated state, none of that's going to really address it. So there are some core concepts that we teach inside of like what is the foundation of how we learn to live in the parasympathetic. I'll briefly go through those now, and then we'll actually do a very deep dive exploration of them later. So number one is slowing down. I know we all are told that, but it's true. You have to there's infinite ways to do it, but it's whether you have a grounding practice, you take a few deep breaths, maybe you just get in your body and notice your senses. What do I hear? What do I smell? What do I see? What do I taste? What do I feel? What kinds of thoughts are there? You observe that. It's a way to tune in. Maybe it's asking, what am I feeling right now? So you cannot suppress it, but you can really be there with yourself saying, how am I doing today? Right? It's like being your own best friend. So grounding, slowing down, presence, being present. So I love Eckhart Tolle's like The Power of Now. His book is all about being present. This is what we're talking about. Really pausing and being in this moment. And we tell people, do that 5 or 10 times a day, where you're just checking in, even for a few seconds, for a minute, and you're just getting present. You're just being in your body. You're interrupting life. It's a pattern interrupt. So it's like time out, pause. Let me get some self-awareness here. If you do this regularly, even just 5 to 10 times a day, you're going to start noticing what's going on inside your body. You're going to start noticing what's happening and what patterns you're in, and choices that you can make, changes that you can implement. But you can't do any of that if you're actually just speeding through life. You have to actually be present and paused and checked in order to begin to perceive these things that are unconscious.
That is so countercultural. It hurts almost. It's
Yes.
I swear, anytime you talk to the everyday person on the street or whatever, your friend or whoever, it's almost like a badge of honor. Oh my God, we're so busy. We're always running here, running there, running, and oh, I never have time for myself, and oh, drink another coffee, and it's so normal to just be all the time, go, go, go. And it's almost looked at as selfish
Oh,
to
yes.
take that time and no, I have to disconnect or not even disconnect, but sorry, that was the wrong word to use, but reconnect really.
Reconnect. Yes.
With yourself, and take that time 5 to 10 times a day. What are you, crazy? So that's almost considered selfish,
Yes. Yep. And it's interesting. I hear that a lot. Because in our society, we do have conditioned things around selfishness and versus selflessness. And really what I've discovered for myself is when I am present, people get the best of me.
Yes.
And when I'm present, I am living that principled life. I have integrity. I'm being considerate. I have empathy. Because by the way, when we're not present, we're in fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Well, fight is like narcissism. I mean, that's what those survival instincts are, narcissistic, which is the ultimate selfish, right? So in the parasympathetic, I'm in my empathic nature. And so, the true selflessness is I am present. I am not emotionally charged. I have emotional intelligence. I am not selfish and reactive. I am considerate because I'm responding. I don't have tunnel vision, right? Quick reflex responses from looking good in survival mode and people pleasing, and codependency. It's like,
Right.
No, I can see the whole picture because I'm in a whole brain state. My heart and my brain are communicating. There's coherence here. And so I have perspective. And I can really see a bigger picture, and I can have empathy, and I can also come from a secure place within myself versus an anxious place or an avoidant place, which are also a dysregulated state. So we talk about, the person I want to be, the best version of me is actually when I'm regulated. And there's no way for me to be the best version of me when I'm dysregulated. And all of my patterns and habits in survival mode actually are selfish because they're ego driven. They are literally my survival patterns and habits, versus when I'm in a creative space, a peaceful place, I'm actually thinking of everyone. I'm looking at coming from values and commitments that I have and principles I want to live from. I am not considering ego my own survival, right? I'm looking at creating from commitment. And so I just want to say that too, like, even if I am giving, if I am running on empty, people can feel my resentment. They can feel my stress. That's what they're feeling. People pick up on that stuff. It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everyone knows, everyone feels it. Versus when I'm truly coming from a wholehearted place, I do get comments that, oh my gosh, you're so generous. You're so loving. Like, thank you so much. Versus like, okay, great. Like, and then we're speeding through life, and it's never enough. And, that's the feedback I get when I'm putting myself last. So this is food for thought.
Yes.
Okay. So that's number one, is being present.
Okay.
Anything you want to say about that?
Nope.
Okay.
Go for it.
Number two, I would say a few times a week, I'm spending time with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like 15 minutes. And I might be just getting present, like more time to get present. I might be looking at what's coming up for me. What do I feel in this moment? I might be kind of doing a Vipassana meditation where it's like just seeing how aware I can be of all the senses, sight, sound, smell, all of that I just talked about. I might be doing a simple activity that I enjoy, like coloring, painting, puzzling. It's something so that I can just be with myself, be present, and make myself a priority. Because as you know, in our society, it's counterculture. We don't do that. We
No.
have everyone else and everything else on our calendars. Where are we? And so
Yep.
different things come up for me when I'm with myself. Sometimes my brain is like, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, you need to do this and you forgot that. And what about the budget? And, what does this person think? And that's coming up. If that's the space I'm in, that shows me a lot of things. So I can take that feedback and information and really learn how to take care of myself. Maybe it's I'm avoiding being with myself. Okay, why? Like, what am I avoiding feeling? Maybe there's grief. Maybe there's anger. Maybe there's anxiety. But as long as I'm trying to outrun those emotions, whatever I resist persists, it's not going to go well. So that's my chance to feel. That's my chance to look in my inner world and allow it to speak to me, right? Allow myself and my unconscious and my heart to speak to me and my mind to speak to me. And one of the times I started doing this, what was interesting is I couldn't shut my mind off. It was all the to-do list.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really not connecting with myself because my brain is going. So I had a conversation with my brain, sounded something like this. Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to write down everything that's coming up. And I promise that I will address this after my time. But right now is my time, but I will address this after. And you know what came up was this feeling. I was very slowed down to perceive this. It was almost imperceptible. But I observed that I didn't trust that I would actually keep my promise to myself and I would actually do the thing. And I would actually address all the stuff in my head. And that was so eye-opening to me because it made me face how I operate with myself all the time, is that I'm breaking my trust all the time. And that was a gut punch moment of, oh, how am I operating here? Like, whoa, this is a pattern and habit. If this is how I'm feeling, making myself feel, right? Like, where else does it show up? I just don't keep my promises to myself. And then I could see it everywhere. My calendar, my to-do list, flossing my teeth. Like, I literally just don't do what I say I'm going to do. There was a cool quote that showed up somewhere on a Facebook newsfeed or something, that every time we keep our promise to ourselves, it grows and strengthens our intuition.
Ooh.
And so people ask me all the time, well, how do you know? How can you perceive that? How can you be aware of that? Well, it actually does start with me keeping my promises to myself so that I keep my inner chatter to a minimum, right? I keep my headspace clear because I'm at peace. That frees up space to literally have intuition and to be able to listen and perceive that intuition. So more food for thought. However you show up to your time with yourself, if you don't show up, if you show up late, if you show up rushing, if you're looking at the clock, is my 15 minutes up yet? Again, if I was on a date with someone I loved, would I have my phone on or off? Would I be dressed nicely or not? Would I have eaten a snack and drinking some water? Like, how do I show up to that time with myself? Do I minimize distractions? Am I fully present? Is it important to me? And so we can use this again as another mirror into our unconscious. So most of the work I teach is actually how to access those unconscious patterns and habits that are unhealthy, make them conscious, so there can be change in the operating state. That's essentially it, is how do we uncover this? And so each of these things I'm giving are actually just mirrors that shed a light on our patterns and habits that can help us go, wait a minute, what am I doing? Where did this come from? Why am I treating myself that way? I don't like this. And then we can make a real shift.
And one of the things that helped me that you said at one point, I think it was last time we met, was set a timer. Set a freaking timer so that when you are doing your one activity, whatever it is, you're not, because that's what I was doing. I was looking at the clock. I was like, is it up yet? Is it up yet? Is it 15 minutes yet? And so setting a timer and writing everything down. There was a few nights in a row, and Catherine, God bless her, she called me on it, man. Called me on the carpet. She's like, if that happens again, write before you even try to go to bed, just write every single thing down. It's probably a Band-Aid, but write every single thing down that's been running through your head that's keeping you up and getting you up at 2 a.m.
Yes.
And then leave it on that page. It'll be there tomorrow. Don't worry.
Yes.
And so it's just amazing, just simple little stuff like that, though.
Yes. I love what you're saying. I know we have a commercial break, but just before we go, it's like,
yeah, no worries.
Yes, write it out, and then maybe get into communication. If you have a mentor, that's the best. But get into communication with someone to address the things that are coming up. So what most of us do is these things bubble up, and then we shove them back down, or we shove them to the side, or we say, I can't handle that yet. I'll do it later. Actually, this is your problem right here. This is survival mode right here. If you actually stop and you face it and you get it complete, then it's out of your space. It's like a blizzard in your life, like being in a snow globe, right? But if you actually address it and get the snow out of the snow globe, you're in less of a blizzard. So that's it, is slowing down enough to recognize what's waking me up at 3 a.m. Let me actually sit down and face it and listen to myself and feel my feelings. And then I can make real choices that are healthy. What is going to bring me peace in this area of life? Go do that. That will solve all of your problems if you just know how to listen to that small inner voice.
Totally. And slowing down. Let's talk about that a little more on the other side of the break, because slowing down, I think that is the cardinal sin. It feels like sometimes it's like, no, you can't slow down. That's selfish. You're taking time for yourself. You're resting. No. I used to feel so guilty taking a nap.
Yes.
It's so ridiculous. But yeah, that's like the common thing today in society, is you have to be going hair on fire speed all the time.
Yes.
So, all right, guys, stick around for that, because I know I'm not alone in thinking that. So stick around so we can talk about it. And we'll see you in just a couple minutes.
Hey there. Every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
All right, here we are. Let's tackle another one. We got a little bit left, a little bit of time left. We got about 10 minutes.
Sweet. I think we can get through the last few, actually, because we've been building up to it. So we were talking about slowing down, and this goes into the sixth one perfectly, which is I commit to be present and consciously face every symptom, every emotion, and every experience that arises.
Oof.
So why do we slow down? So we can actually be aware of what's going on for us and for others. And then we can make wise choices with discernment, and wisdom, and we can
Right.
respond in the ways that that bring us peace, that really are operating in the highest good of everyone, right? And so that's something that's so key. And even if flare-ups happen after someone gets healthy, they might for a while be in a habit of flaring up, of getting triggered, suppressing
Yeah.
those things, and then their body kind of creates a survival program, and so a symptom shows up. And so even with that, it's like, wow, what is this here to teach me? So when we come from an open, willing, curious place, what is going on in me first? That's putting my inner world first. So I'm tending to me
Mhm.
first. Then I can be the best version of me. I can have self-awareness, emotional intelligence, discernment, all of that be present for me. And so it really is, what is this here to show me? What is this teaching me? What is this mirroring to me? What are my patterns and habits here? It's that curiosity to go inward that is actually our best friend in being able to uncover all of these unconscious things. So that's a huge one. Anything you want to say about that?
Well, it reminded me of something that when we first started working together with this program, I've had a condition my whole life. My first, I was diagnosed with it at 2 weeks old. I'm 47. We've been dealing with this for a while. And so my mindset had been so much ingrained in, oh, if something happens, oh, it's because of the condition. Oh, that's because of the condition. Oh, that's because of the condition. And just just a couple of weeks ago, something happened with, I don't know, driving or direction. I missed a turn or something. And I was so quick to say, oh, stupid memory loss. That's because of the condition. And I thought to myself, wait a second. Everybody has stupid moments behind the wheel and forgets to turn somewhere. That doesn't have anything to do with that. That's just life. That's just being a human, And so I'm starting to shift that thinking to, oh, okay, this has nothing to do. The condition is totally, that's over there now.
Yes.
But it takes time. It takes time, and
Oh,
it takes, like, you have to be aware of that to even acknowledge it. So
Oh, yes. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite things, concepts is like you have to be beyond it to see it. So it really is growing and expanding in consciousness, in awareness, to
Right.
even be able to have perspective to look newly at what's going on. And there's certain things like, dropping stuff, stubbing my toe, running into walls, forgetting my keys or forgetting my whatever,
Yeah.
that now I used to just do those. I'm just so clumsy. Now it's like, I was sped up. Those things only happen when I'm sped up, disconnected, on autopilot,
Yeah.
all up in my head, not really present. Like, that's when those things are happening. So now it becomes a choice and a reminder. Oh, hey, what's going on, Michal? Like, where are you at? How are you feeling? Because things are happening again. So maybe that's an indication to pause, to pattern interrupt, to interrupt my patterns, and to bring awareness there, and to really look inside what's going on that has this experience showing up for me.
Love it.
And then I can
All right.
take responsibility. And
Yes.
yeah, so that's beautiful.
All right.
The
Number
last
7.
one, number 7, is I commit to choosing a fully healthy mentor who can help me navigate my blind spots and has the wisdom to bring the unhealthy, unconscious patterns to my conscious awareness. So this one was huge for me because I picked people in my life, like other functional medicine practitioners or herbalists or nutritionists or the experts or the doctors. But when I really started looking at it, they weren't healthy either.
Right.
They were popping pills, whether it was natural herbs or whatever, meds. They were the ones on restricted diets. They were the ones always flaring up and not knowing what happened. They were the ones using Band-Aid approaches. And it was a huge aha moment for me. Well, how do I expect to ever become healthy if the person that's mentoring me is not? They can only take me as far as they are. So
Yes.
really look at their lives. Do they embody it? Or are they an empty teacher, meaning they're just saying concepts, but like their own life you wouldn't want to live? It's like,
Yeah.
And so I really started researching, and I found, one woman that really had said, no, I healed 5 autoimmune diseases. I can eat gluten again. I'm off all supplements and meds. I went and learned from her for months.
Yeah.
And then I went on to learn from another mentor at Mystic Healing Institute. And she took me so much farther and deeper. And a lot of the concepts that I had learned previously, she kept calling me out. You're not embodying that. You don't know that in your own experience. You only know that conceptually. And so she really helped me learn how to experience it myself, and how to learn experientially, and how to teach experientially. And so the mentors that I now have, the accountability that I have in my life to this day, they embody it, and they live it, and they breathe it, and I want to emulate what I see in them, not just what they say out of their mouths. And there are certain mentors I have discontinued because I liked what was coming out of their mouth, but I didn't like what I was seeing in reality. And so I had to, choose not to do that anymore. So this is key.
Yes.
You have to choose quality mentorship that's living what you want to accomplish. And that's why I say in all of our practitioners, they actually healed. They are fully healthy. They live and breathe this stuff. We check each other on our commitments every week. And if we are not in a committed space, we do not teach. Like, it literally, we cannot work for our company if we are not embodying everything that we teach. And I've met very few companies that ever work that way. But it's a huge standard, and that's what we want. And it's also like, then they can teach in their own experience, as can I, because I am fully healthy and I was bedridden and I did have an autoimmune disease, but I don't now. Like, lab tests are normal. There's no sign of an autoimmune disease. I did have a genetic disorder. Lab tests are normal. There's no sign that I have that anymore. These are real embodied, living, breathing examples. And so I can walk someone through that process of how to heal because I've lived it. And the people that I choose to learn from now and continue to learn from, they're the ones who have walked it themselves, not learned it in some seminar, but they have literally walked it, and they know it in their own experience, and they teach from their own experience.
Yes, exactly. Why is that not more widespread? That's all I'm saying. Like, seriously.
Yep.
You go to a nutritionist that weighs 300 pounds and think that they're going to tell you how to be nutritious or how to eat nutritiously or whatever.
Yes.
Come on.
Yep.
So we give so many people a pass in the medical community, not trying to throw them under the bus or anything. Wouldn't be here without them.
Yep.
Love in some aspects, I love the traditional Western model of medicine, but in some areas, it's like, how are you going to teach me anything?
Right. Yes. And there's tons of amazing stories. It's like, oh, this supplement saved my life, or this grounding mat, or this modality, or this technique. Okay, that is great. And if you as an individual, you want to have to do that the rest of your life in order to manage a symptom, do it. Great. And I'm not joking. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe that is the easiest path for you and it works, and you don't want to go do everything we're talking about. Awesome. But if you're the kind of person like me that I did not want to keep spending hundreds of dollars on supplements and all of the tests and a restricted diet and the whole functional medicine thing and this and that, if I didn't want to have to do that the rest of my life, in fact, I added it up one time, how much just for like the chiropractor I would have to spend the rest of my life. It was $178,000. Didn't include diet, didn't include supplements. I was like, I mean, I could buy several cars for that, or you know what I mean? That could go towards an investment property, or I could pay my house off early, or I could invest in my child's education, or I could do so much stuff. I don't really want to spend that on chiropractic anymore. And I don't have to, because my body and nervous system regulates itself. It keeps all my bones and muscles and joints in alignment. And so it's like, that's what led me to that next step. There's got to be something more. What is it?
Love it. That's awesome. Yeah. And that's what we're talking about. If you're ready for that, then talk to Michal. That's all it is. If you're ready, go for it. If you're not, that's okay. It's okay. We're not here to judge you. It's just some people are ready, some people aren't. I wasn't until I was.
Yeah,
So,
same.
so it's just how it works. So, yeah. So, well, I tell you what, we got through all 7. Yes, we got through the rest of them. So, beautiful. Thank you so much. This is just awesome. I love doing these shows because it's always eye-opening. I learn something new every time, of course, and I hope you do too, by the way, out there. Everybody better be learning stuff because this is good stuff. And so we will see you, everybody, on what is it today? Today's the 3rd of December. So welcome to December, everybody. And we will see you next with Michal. We'll see you, I think it's the 17th, that we will have another show with Michal. And the next show in general will be Friday, December 6th. And until then, have an amazing day. And we'll see everybody soon.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one.